Welcome everybody.
Welcome, Prof.
Welcome, Prof.
The Creator created the universe and nature. Nature gives birth to the living at every moment, keeps it alive, and at the end of its life transforms it. It uses its materials to create another living being or nourish it. Indeed, science tells us, the atoms of the matter that makes up living beings do not disappear upon death, they pass into another body. Moreover, on Earth and in the universe, science has only identified 118 different chemical elements, including 94 in the natural state, and 24 created artificially in the laboratory. The creation of the living takes place according to processes which seem to contain both regulated deterministic laws and random laws, which is the meeting of several events that obey chance. It is enough to observe biological processes, such as fertilization in all forms, cell divisions, mutations and genetic accidents, to be convinced that everything which exists in nature is the fruit of necessity and randomness, as Democritus had already observed 24 centuries ago. If there were no regulated laws of necessity, there would have been no universe and no living nature, and if there were no random laws, there would have been no diversity in nature nor continuous adaptability of living beings to life on Earth. Science teaches us how organic matter is generated in living bodies through food. The life cycle in nature is a cycle of interactions between three categories of organisms: producers, mainly plants; consumers, which are herbivores, carnivores or omnivores; and decomposers, which are bacteria, fungi, and earthworms.
The producers are living organisms called autotrophs. An autotrophic organism is an organism capable of generating its own organic matter from inorganic elements such as minerals, either through solar energy, with a process called photosynthesis, or through the oxidation of inorganic compounds, with the process called chemosynthesis. Thus, autotrophic organisms do not need to feed on other living beings to obtain the energy necessary for life, which makes these organisms primary producers. Autotrophic organisms include green plants, certain types of phototrophic or chemotrophic bacteria, and algae, whereas a consumer is a heterotrophic organism. That is to say, an organism incapable of synthesizing its components itself, and which therefore resorts to sources of exogenous organic matter, coming from other living organisms. It is said to be a primary consumer. It therefore uses to feed itself the organic materials constituting or having constituted other organisms. Human beings and animals in general, insects, bacteria, fungi, etc., are heterotrophs, except for the organisms mentioned previously in the autotrophic category.
Decomposers, on the other hand, include a variety of organisms, including certain bacteria, fungi, and earthworms, already mentioned above. They feed on plant debris, animal corpses, or even animal excrement. They play a crucial role in the life cycle. They are the living things that break down dead organic matter, such as plants and animals, and transform them into mineral elements. This helps clean the earth and recycle deceased living things into organic matter, which can then be consumed by primary producers, such as plants. Indeed, by decomposing this debris, they release mineral elements into the soil, which are then absorbed by the roots of the plants. Thus, the food chain can continue its life cycle endlessly. Unfortunately, many people do not realize the universality of the laws of the Creator, and often reduce what normally happens in nature to the restricted interpretation of their own religion, and the superstition of their fellow religionists. God, the Creator, endowed the universe with the necessity of deterministic laws and chance with random laws, generating diversity in living nature. We cannot blame a living being, whatever it is, virus, bacteria, insect, reptile, plant, bird, fish, animal, human being, for the way in which it was naturally endowed to feed itself, to maintain itself alive as long as possible, defend themselves, and reproduce. All living beings, despite the fact that they feed on each other, are embarked on the same boat of life. There is no life without diversity. The reality of life in nature and the need for diversity includes all living things in food chains, including all types of bacteria, which break down everything in the end to feed the plants that feed everyone, as was said previously.
Indeed, I am a carnivore. God created nature, and nature made me like this. To live, I eat deer, wild boars, gore, and even fish. They eat other living beings. This is the law of nature.
Indeed, it is the law of nature. Observe nature, it is an open book that comes directly from the Creator, for those who want to think deeply. Human beings have always been born naked. Everything he uses from the beginning until today, clothes to cover himself, the needle to sew a torn fabric, up to the plane weighing more than 400 tons, which can transport 400 passengers above clouds, and even above birds. All this is achieved thanks to his intelligence and skill. Nothing fell from the sky, and no sorcerer, nor preacher of dogma, nor so-called invisible spirit, or devil, has ever supernaturally invented a thread or a nail, or helped to make a material object. Goodbye to the next video, on another subject of reflection or knowledge.